thank you, each and every single one of you for being here on your Tuesday night after a monumental day in the market. Let's click on over here to the daily. We have a mixture of red and green across the board as Bitcoin gets the pump a lump, baby. Bitcoin pumped massively today. Let's zoom on in here on this daily candle. A massive daily candle for BTC rallying on a day that was unexpected. 3.28% to the upside, baby, to the upside. Are we out of the water? Are we going higher? Or is this just a relief rally before a drop further into the crypto abyss? We're going to dive into all that today. Shout out to each and every single one of you guys in the chat. Lily, April, Wanda, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate your time. What is going on, everybody? How are you feeling in the chat? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What are the coins that you want to look at? Let's dive on into altcoins and let's have some fun tonight as we dive on into it. But we're going to start every single day like we do every single night here on this channel with Bitcoin, baby. BTC. We are still underneath that daily 200 SMA. The daily 200 SMA is the key when you are talking about the macro, whether you're going up or whether you're going down here in the near term. We've been hugging that for weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Since back here on the 8th of March, we've been hugging this red line. We need to start closing candles. It is imperative to start closing candles above that daily 200 SMA, baby, above the daily 200 SMA. The bullish news, we have this daily bullish divergence. We'll go over this very quickly as we do every single day on the channel so that everybody's on the same page with Bitcoin, baby, with Bitcoin. JJ, what's going on? Thanks for jumping on in, man. I appreciate you. Going on that swing down on price action, a lower low being made on price action while we have a swing high in the RSI. This is daily bullish divergence forming here on the charts that has been confirmed, suggesting that we're going to break this high here at about 95,000 before we crack this low at 76 is the bottom end. It could be, ladies and gentlemen. There's something that I've been seeing here on the charts. Let's get this out of here. Something that looks kind of juicy to me. Look at this shoulder. We have the shoulder, the head, and this has the potential to be our right shoulder out of here to the upside. We have a pretty distinct downward sloping resistance line for our neckline for BTC here. The target move for this inverted head and shoulders, though it's slanted, is all the way up here at about $100,000. That would be assuming we break this current resistance range that has failed before. It has failed. Support, likely to be resistance on the way up, proven here with the high volume node. But right now, as we zoom on out on the chart, we're forming a very high volume node here. We're starting to form a high volume node of support as there's been a lot of price action in this area that's been developing over the past few weeks. We are looking for a bounce here on BTC to the upside. The bad news, we are trading beneath that daily 200 SMA. That is going to be resistance until it is flipped as support. So what are we going to do here underneath the daily 200 SMA when we're looking to press on that daily 200 SMA as resistance? Well, we're going to go down into the smaller time frames and look how we're looking for BTC on the micro time frame. Shout out to all the micro friends out there. Shout out to you guys. All right, here we go. Bitcoin currently testing the 5-minute 200 SMA. We broke the 1. We're likely to come test the 3. We tested the 3, broke through it, could not get back above. Now we're coming to test the 5. We're testing the 5 right now. I'd like to see how this daily this 5-minute candle closes on the 200. We lose the 5, we're likely to come and test the 7. We lose the 7, we're likely to come and test the 15. We lose the 15, we'll test the 30, and then the 1 hour, and the 1 hour is above us. So we do have the smaller time frames supporting us on their 200 MAs, while the macro time frames, the 1 hour and above, are serving as the 2 hours serving as support right now. That's a good sign. The 21 curving up very violently into price action. That could get a push to the upside as well. So currently we're waiting for these 200 MAs to kind of even out here, to even out. The 200 MA on the 2 hour, the 30 and the 15 are all beneath us, serving as support, while the 1 hour, 3 hour, and we are currently at the 4 hour 200 SMA is giving us this battle right now. This battle, we've been battling this all day, ever since we had the pump, since this morning, since on market open, we had that massive pump on BTC and to the upside for Bitcoin. But for the past 12 hours, we've been battling this 4 hour 200 SMA, a key area for us to get around. I do love how it's flattening out here. We are flattening out here on the 200, looking very, very good. That's what I like to see. We have a little bit of a high volume node here going on. and we could get that push up to at least this area here at about 87,000. I think that is relatively likely for Bitcoin if we can break above this 4-hour 200 SMA. Now, before we have broken above this 4-hour 200 SMA, we flagged out and it looked absolutely beautiful, and we got that dumpage to the downside here. To the downside, we were forming a nice little flag, looked great, ended up being a shoulder, head, right shoulder to the downside. Did not look very, very good here, and we had that shoulder, head, right shoulder right here, inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder that kicked us up out of here, and now we are testing that 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, that is very, very important as we track that throughout the night. That 4-hour candle closes in about an hour and 21 minutes. Over onto the bubbles, baby. Over onto the bubbles. The altcoin's getting a little bit of love today, and that's kind of strange to see that since Bitcoin dominance is absolutely mooning at 62.7%. What a monumental move to the upside for Bitcoin dominance, looking to go and potentially test this wick. Now, I do want to pull a fib here and see where the bearish 618-786 would be from this range, from the swing high of this wick to the swing low. You are approaching that. We're right there, and currently we're getting a little bit of a rejection off the 618 area. We'll see how this candle closes in about an hour and 20 minutes. This is what I'm going to be looking at as we go throughout the night, ladies and gentlemen, as we go throughout the night. Potentially a push up to the 786. I see massive resistance above for Bitcoin dominance, potentially a rollover coming. Why do I think a rollover is coming? On the weekly, baby. On the weekly, we talk about this every single day because I have to keep bringing it up. Here, yes, we are getting a couple green candles. We have 5 weekly green candles in a row, baby. And Boys Crypto is calling for the reversal. I have to. This is an inverted cup and handle, baby. This is an inverted cup and handle, with the giant gap in the VRVP to the downside for BTC dominance. Looking here from our Fibonacci, we have a pull from our swing high to swing low. We are coming up to that 618-786. We're coming up to the 706 right now, potentially coming up to the 786. We are in that area where price loves to reject on the big time frames, baby. This is, if Bitcoin dominance is to reverse and we are going to get any kind of alt season, this is where it starts. This is likely where it begins, ladies and gentlemen. This is likely where it begins, up here in this range to the downside. And let I remind you, last time when we cracked this high, look, we cracked the high and we went on a Bitcoin dominance failure. The alt season began and it lasted only 120 to 140 days for Bitcoin dominance to lose 50%, almost 50% of its value, baby, of its value. Let me take a minute to welcome everybody into the chat, everybody who's joining on in here. We got Sin Nasty Kid, April, JJ. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for jumping on into the chat today and joining me. I appreciate you. Sin Nasty Kid, I did do a little bit of research on that AYO protocol for you, man. I dived on in here, took a look at their website, looked pretty good. It has a decent safety score, looks really good. This asset AYO was brought up to our attention by Sin Nasty Kid yesterday. Essentially, it's an AI that manages your Solana wallet and moves your assets around into different kind of yields depending on what kind of staking platform you want to use to in order to maximize the yields of the assets that you already own without giving custody to somebody else. It just allows the AI to manage your wallet, which is pretty cool. It doesn't buy or sell anything. It just moves it around into different kind of accounts in order to promote your in order to get maximum yield for the assets that you already own. I think this is a really cool project, man. I'm gonna do a little bit of more of a deep dive. I'm gonna check out their Twitter and everything, but yeah, it's looked good. I went through their frequently asked questions and everything. You don't need any requirements to start. It looks cool, man. It looks cool. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I'm gonna do a little bit more of a deep dive in here, and this may be a video that I make. I think this project has some pretty good potential, man. I like what it's about. I like the AI space. Everybody who watches this channel knows I'm a big fan of AI, and I think it's gonna massively boom. I think AI has a comeback, has a major comeback brewing in the mix. All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for jumping on in. AYO protocol looks pretty good. AYO protocol, we'll pull that chart up. Oh, we'll pull that chart up, baby. We'll pull that chart up. That chart is on Deck Screener, baby. On Deck Screener for AYO protocol. I don't think it's on TradingView yet. AYO protocol? No, it is not. We have to come on over here to Deck Screener, baby. Check out the new computer. We're able to go from website to website in a fraction of a second. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy when my old dyno used to just sit there and load? Woo! What an upgrade we made for the Boys Crypto channel. Shout out to each and every single one of you for being here. That was crazy having to get a new computer. It was wild. It was almost smoking. The fan wasn't even turning. It was making this loud, like, It was crazy. Yeah, the Best Buy guy milked me for about $2 grand. Yeah, not good, not good. Don't tell the lady. Shh. All right, here we go. AYO protocol. AYO protocol, baby. AYO protocol. Diving on in here on Solana. Getting that nice rounded bottom. Looks very, very good to me here for AYO protocol on Solana and on Radium. So you can get this on like Solflare or on a Radium wallet. Anything like that. You have a lot of sales coming in here. Let's see. Holders have increased from yesterday. I think this was like 1,800 yesterday. So it looks good. Looks good. I think this thing can do some damage. I really do. I'm going to do a little bit more research into it. I'm going to see what the actual white paper says. I had a little difficulty finding the actual white paper, but the website looks really, really good. You do have a little bit of falling volume here. With falling price, does not look bad to me. I think this project can get a rebound to the upside, especially if the Solana chain starts popping off again. If the Solana chain starts popping off again and people start wanting to look for the maximum yield on their assets, this could be something in AI that can really, really promote value in the space. And I'm not sure exactly how they make money, whether they collect a fee, but this, hey, has 74,000 in locked liquidity, a little lower. Market cap's pretty low, 339K. But I will tell you this, if you're one of those investors looking for the next 100 to 1000X, these are the market caps that you need to look at. These are the market caps you need to look at for those 100 to 1000X. Look at this. Look at the volatility, up 48% today. Up just 50% today. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So that's what I'm looking at here. That's what I'm looking at here for AYO on Solana. And again, anything can happen. Something with a market cap like this could go to zero in a fraction of a second. I'm telling you it can. But you do have 1,900 holders. It does look good. You got a solid liquidity provider and you have 74,000 in locked liquidity. It looks pretty good. It had a 74 safety score on the anti-rug agent. Looks good. Better than Trump. Better than Melania. Better than Libra. All I'm saying, you know what I mean? Regardless of how you feel about those coins. Better safety than those according to the AI. So it looks pretty good. I also do like how in the holders, nobody owns a vast majority of the percent. You have two people that own about 20% of the supply. That's okay. But then as you go down, the supply really diminishes here. Really, really, really diminishes. So I like what I'm seeing here for AYO. Thanks for dropping that on our radar, Sinasty Kid. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Jumping on into the chat. Hello, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? You three extra coins today. Yeah, hey, yesterday was a good opportunity to buy, man. Those were good prices for BTC, great prices for BTC. And you know, you could argue that anything under 100,000, great prices for BTC. If you get in at 84 versus 82 versus 75, I don't think it's really going to matter when we're at $1 million per Bitcoin, which I believe we are going to go there in the next decade. I think $1 million per Bitcoin is very achievable in the next decade, especially if the government start competing for it, and the massive supply shock that is coming, I think is going to blow everybody's socks off. Is going to blow everybody's socks off. Look at that. Since this morning, we did have a little bit of dumpage. This was Tuesday, baby. This was market open right here. We had that craziness on market open. We got the dump and flushed. We flushed to the upside, squeezed the crap out of the shorts who had their stop losses up here, and boom, now we're sitting here at this consolidation range between about 84.6 and about 85.4, and we're touching that bottom of that range right now. So it looks really, really interesting here for BTC. You do need to get a bounce here. You need to save that 5-minute 200 SMA. Let's see if we can get these a couple candle body closes above here and continue to the upside, baby. To the upside for BTC. Looks very, very good. You do have a high volume node above here in this range that is going to serve as your point of control. You need to reclaim this $85,065 level in order to keep moving further to the upside for Bitcoin. And move for Bitcoin tonight would catch the whole world with their pants down. Bitcoin does exactly the opposite of what everybody expects it to do. Everybody's calling for 70K, 70K, 70K. I promise you, there's a lot of people that own absolutely zero Bitcoin that are waiting for 70K. Those people could be left behind. You never know. They have all their limit orders down there. Bitcoin pumps to the moon, and then they're like, well, do I get in now? You have to buy in higher. That's why for me, like it's very, very difficult to hit the sell button on Bitcoin. I won't sell my Bitcoin. It's not the time to sell my Bitcoin. It is not the time to sell my Bitcoin. In my opinion, these are relatively good prices, and it's hard to say. It's hard to catch the exact bottom. But what I can tell you is for my strategy, right? We were averaging in here on Bitcoin and the altcoins back here. We've been buying Bitcoin for the past couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen. We have, and you know this. Let's zoom on out here. We got our box of remembrance. Our box of remembrance. We are back in our box of remembrance. We called the bottom of all coins on this daily bullish divergence here, saying that we're going to crack this high before this low. We are back in our box of remembrance. We're averaging in here right around where we averaged in on a lot of our coins. So this is where these are the prices that I like here for BTC and for the altcoins. I think we can get a major reversal here. Same thing as Bitcoin. Shoulder, head, right shoulder to the upside. I think Total 3 is about to make a monumental move that is going to catch everybody with their pants down. And something interesting here about Total 3, something I've noticed in the charts here, and I'm not ragging on XRP, I promise I'm not ragging on XRP. Weakness in XRP. There is weakness here, and I know a lot of people aren't talking about this. This coin looks weak. It does. Yes, you're at the top of the zone. We have to take into consideration that this chart is heavily influenced by XRP. Heavily influenced. Why? Because XRP is the #1 token that moves this chart because it's the #3 in market cap. This market cap excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, and as even today, XRP getting beaten down a little bit here on the micro. It looks a lot like Bitcoin, but XRP from the macro perspective, this does not look good. You crack this support and you're going on a trip to the downside based on the evidence of this VRVP here. On this side, you have a giant gap down to 146. You lose this support level and Total 3 will fall. Total 3 will fall very, very, very quickly because XRP has the biggest influence on this chart. So something to keep in mind. We also have to keep in mind, we wouldn't even be here. We would not be in this box of remembrance for XRP. We'd be down here, $100 billion less. We'd be down here in the 666 range if XRP didn't take an additional $100 billion of market cap from, not only the rest of the altcoins, but from the public. That's what led to this massive run up. That's why a lot of the altcoins are struggling here, because this run was so influenced by XRP. XRP took like 4% of the entire crypto market cap. It was insane. So people are like, oh, how did Total 3 run and my altcoin didn't run as hard? It's because of XRP. XRP that had that 5 to 6x, a monumental move to the upside, and that's what's heavily influencing this chart right now. So if XRP does go, and I'm not saying that it does, if XRP does fall to the downside, expect Total 3 to roll over, and your altcoins may be all right. Your altcoins may hold up against that, and this just shows you here. DEXE, I don't know what happened to this thing today, but this thing got absolutely destroyed over the course of the day, down 30% on the daily. We'll pull that up on the chart here. We'll go over the biggest winner and the biggest loser before we jump on in the chat, everybody. Thank you for being here. Drop your altcoins, drop your questions in the chat, and we are going to dive on in tonight and have a great time. Thank you for being here. All right, we got Wanda wanting to look at SEI, baby. We will dive on into SEI for you, Wanda, absolutely. Pudgy Penguins, yeah, let's go, man. We'll dive into Pudgy Penguins. Any news by Newsmax? I don't know what that is, man. I don't know. Much respect, much love. And where is the alt season? Yeah, I totally agree with you. All right, we'll dive into SEI. We'll biggest winners, biggest losers later. We'll go with the chat wants, baby. The chat with the chat wants. Let's dive on into SEI. SEI, one of the gaming coins of the decade, getting absolutely beaten down here. Potentially about to did violate this daily bullish divergence here. You had this swing up. That looks bearish to me. You have this swing down on price action here. Anytime you violate daily bullish divergence, it flashes warning signs in my head, because if we violate daily bearish divergence going to the upside, you often get a massive pump. You violate daily bullish divergence, saying that you're likely to crack this high before you crack this low, and you crack this low before you crack this high. So this daily bullish divergence is invalidated right now. Now you could argue, oh boys, crypto, we're forming another set. Yes, but you invalidated this set right here, and it just gives me the I don't like. And this is slight. This is a slight. Yeah, you do have daily bullish divergence there. That is true. But given the fact that you violated this daily bullish divergence, tells me that there's likely further room to the downside, and you don't have a lot of support here. You don't. You don't have a lot of support here, Wanda. I'm not going to lie to you. That's what I'm looking at for SEI here. Kind of giving a little bit of weakness on even just a 4-hour candle that opened up just a few hours ago. And you could argue, oh, well, Bitcoin's doing that too. And that's true. So we'll have to see how this, shapes out, Wanda. But man, SEI does not look good to me. SEI was looking hot. It was. Everybody back here, this was in December, comparing it to SUI on that run up, was expected to compete with SUI on its massive run to the upside. And SEI did just, the market responded and said, no, baby, no. Here was the run for, supposing I was supposed to compete with Sui. Yeah, this was the pre-election run, post-election run, all the way up to 74 cents, and a crash down to the depths for SEI. You're praying that this daily bullish divergence can get you out of here, but let's zoom on out into the charts, and you don't have a lot of, you're sitting on a key support resistance flip area, resistance, and now currently treating it as support. You've hit it once, and you've hit it twice. This would be the area you need to bounce for SEI. If you're looking for a high risk entry, now would be the time. But if SEI drops below this level, expect further downside. If we flip this upside down, look at this. You're looking at this. This looks like a gigantic W, does it not? You know, for a break to the upside. I don't know if I like what I'm seeing here I don't think I do. I don't like what I'm seeing for SEI. Now, with that being said, let's get this out of here. I am seeing a little bit of this here, a little bit of a wedge forming here. I do see this. A little bit of a wedge, right? That looks like a bull pennant, but hey, look, flip this upside down. This could be perceived as either a bear pennant or a falling wedge. Falling wedges do break up 60% of the time. So you'd come from the base to the swing, connecting the support line and the resistance lines here. This is a falling wedge, and you break out 60% of the time to the upside. You can get a little bit of a squeeze here for SEI, but based off that daily bullish divergence getting defined, not like what I'm seeing for SEI here on the daily time frame, Wanda. That's my analysis for SEI. Shout out to you. Thank you for being the first one in the chat to drop a coin, baby. Drop a coin. All right, let's dive on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here with me tonight. Let's dive on in. Unreal Designs, what's going on, man? I'm glad that you're in the chat. Thank you for being here. All right, we'll dive into Pudgy Penguins. I did get airdropped some Pudgy Penguins. I did end up selling my bag. I ended up selling my bag of Pudgy Penguins way back when we were speculating on some ideas here. I didn't get into Pudgy Penguins. I got airdropped it on the Jupiter network whenever we had our staking rewards released. I think that was July or August. How old is this coin? Yeah, July or August. It was somewhere. No, maybe it was for December. This hasn't been on Coinbase long. Pudgy Penguins, baby. All right, yeah, we'd have to look on deck screen here, but Pudgy Penguins, yeah. Look, Pudgy Penguins, I did get airdropped this from the Jupiter network on the airdrop. If you guys swap things on Solana, I highly recommend using Jupiter. You get airdrop for, free stuff. It's super cool, super nice. And yeah, Jupiter's getting absolutely beat down. One of my favorite projects in the game, but they do a really, really good job as far as staking rewards go. You get like 100, it's almost 100% APY a year, which is crazy. And I know that doesn't make up for the price decrease right now, but yeah, Jupiter, Solana are definitely taking a beating. But if you're going to swap on things to Solana, at least you get a little bit of free Jupiter at the end of the year. And whatever if you stake your Jupiter, you also get the coins that are released on their platform, which is super cool. And Pudgy Penguins happens to be one of those coins, baby, one of those coins. So Pudgy Penguins, how much lower can it go? That's a great question. You are currently in price discovery to the downside here, for Pudgy Penguins. You got to start playing 200 MA dominoes, man. You got to start playing them quick. This on the 1 minute does not look good. Let's see what moving average is keeping you down here. The 15. Can't get above the 15. Yeah, that's struggling. You're on price discovery to the downside, my brother. And that's not looking good. I will be honest. Now you could take your Fibix. You could take theoretical extensions here. But I think that puts you down into areas that you just don't want to be looking at right now. The 1.618 sitting down at 0.0351. Can we get there? It doesn't look good for Pudgy Penguins here. It doesn't look good to me, man. It doesn't look good to me. Likely you're going to get a bounce at some point. You do have a little bit of divergence here, but that got invalidated. This 4-hour bullish divergence that was formed here on Pudgy Penguins did get invalidated. You had this swing down on price action. It looked really juicy, and you had this swing up on the RSI, and that was confirmed. It looked really, really good, stating that you're going to crack this high. You're likely to crack this high before you crack this low. Did not happen. You got a little bit of a reaction here, but not enough for the juice to get the squeeze, baby, or for the lemon to get the squeeze. Yeah, and Pudgy Penguins to the downside. If you did flip this upside down, and you're looking for higher highs, like this would be the blue skies breakout, unless you're going to get a swing failure pattern. Could that happen? Absolutely, but you're on price discovery to the downsides for Pudgy Penguins. If it were me, and I hope it works out for you, brother, if it were me, I just wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it. At this point, if you're in it, And I don't know what your position is, man. I don't know what your position is, man. But if you're in it, you're pretty close to it's tough to say. You're on price discovery to the downside. I won't give financial advice, man, but I'm not going to touch this thing with the 10-foot pole right now. I can't do it until we see some kind of strength, some kind of very strong divergence. This would not have been a bad idea to long, but you would have gotten stopped out there. That is for sure. That is for sure. All right, diving on in. Paul McLeod, what's going on, man? I appreciate you diving on into the chat. Christoph DN says, when is alt season? So going on over here to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, baby. We went over this a little earlier, but I'll give you in the nutshell. I think it is on the horizon. Let's get everything out of here. Why do I think it's on the horizon? I'm going to hit this one more time. I have to. I'm going to say it every single time somebody asks. Why? Because on the weekly, baby, zooming on in. On the weekly, we have a lot of bearish confluence here in the charts. You have the inverted cup. You have the inverted cup and handle, baby. Inverted cup and handle. On the weekly, you're retracing to a bearish 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci retracement, a mathematical area that price loves to reject from, whether you're going from the long side or the short side. Flip this upside down. Does this not look like a beautiful cup and handle that we would long? And 10 ways to Sunday, baby. 10 ways to Sunday. Yes, it looks very, very good. You have a giant gap here in the VRVP to support a massive squeeze to the downside. You have weekly bearish divergence here. You have weekly bearish divergence. So you have the inverted cup and handle, the bearish 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci retracement, the daily bearish divergence. It is about to get invalidated, I believe, if we did crack this wick, won't it? Yeah, the daily bearish divergence, you did break the convergent line here on the RSI. That does not look very good. That does not look very good for the daily divergence playing out. However, we still do have weekly bearish divergence. Going in here, zooming on in, baby. Zooming on in on Bitcoin dominance. We have this swing down. We have this swing down on price action. Again, breaking the convergent line. Not something I want to see. But still, we have this swing down on price action while we have a higher high being created here on the charts. You can take it to the wick or to here. But I like to swing up to this swing up on price action with the swing down on the RSI, saying that you're likely going to break this low before you crack the high of this wick. Can that happen? Yes, we can get a turnaround here. And even as we speak, we can pull a local fib. If we zoom on in on our 1 hour time frame, let's pull a local fib here and see what we're looking at. Zooming on in, baby. Zooming on in. Now we'll go to the 4 hour. Zooming on in. Let's pull our local Fibonacci here from, let's clear this out, from our swing high to our swing low of the current range. If we're getting a breakout here, we're going to need to break past this level. We're coming up perfectly to the 618 right now. This is an area where we can reject. We can also reject up here at the 786. And I still believe with that daily or that weekly bearish divergence saying that we're not going to crack this level up here at about 64, I think in this zone, it is super likely to see a turnaround for Bitcoin dominance. That's what the Fibonacci say. That's what the weekly bearish 618-786 Fibonacci says. With that being said, as we said before here on this channel, baby, if we break that 786, bearish 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci retracement, you could get the Bitcoin dominance to the, you crack this high, Bitcoin dominance can run to 80-90%, and it could do it like that. It could do it very, very quickly. And is that the Bitcoin super cycle? It could be. Anything could happen in trading, but right now, until we crack that 786, I have to be a bear on Bitcoin dominance. I don't know if it's going to happen today. I don't know if it's going to happen next week, but I have to assume this wick won't be broken here. This wick will not be broken based off the weekly bearish divergence. You defy weekly bearish divergence, one of the biggest time frames you could look at from a charting perspective when you're looking at technical analysis, and you are likely going to get a squeeze to the upside like you've never seen before in your life. So that's what I'm looking at here for Bitcoin dominance. Altcoin season, I think, is right around the corner. This could be the high that we're looking at. A lot of highs in the past have come with these shooting star patterns. Shooting star right here, baby. Shooting star. Shooting star. Shooting star. You did have a shooting star right here. You did break that. Yeah, it's true. A lot of these tops, shooting star, shooting stars are bearish candlestick patterns, everybody. And every time you see one, essentially, you get a little bit of a pullback. A little bit of a pullback, little bit of a pullback, little bit of a pullback. Could this roll over? I think so. I think that's what we're looking at here for Bitcoin dominance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the probabilities to me are screaming that Bitcoin dominance is going to roll over here based off the weekly bearish 618786 Fibonacci retracement out of this inverted cup and handle. Looks good to me. Looks good to me, baby. That's what I'm going to be tracking here within the next month or so. I think the altcoin season will start within a month, 2 months. I think that is the most likely scenario. I think we don't chop around here for too often, because when altcoin season starts, as we saw back here in November, it's fast. Look at this last season. These are weekly candles. It's fast. It drops and it doesn't stop dropping. Very, very, very likely to happen to me. Very, very likely to happen, in my opinion, for Bitcoin dominance here out of that weekly bearish divergence. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. It's not my opinion based off the altcoins. It's just how I'm analyzing the charts and what the charts are telling me, baby. What the charts are telling me. All right, diving on in. We looked at Pudgy Penguins. Alt season for Christoph. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. Giga Chad for Paul McLeod. Let's dive on into Giga Chad. AYO protocol. Yeah, we did take a quick look at that. I appreciate you dropping that in the chat, Sinesi Kid. That could be the next gem, baby. That could be the next gem. I'm still going to do a little bit more research on it before I call that out on the channel, man. But I greatly appreciate you for putting that up. Pudgy Penguins. I do know Pudgy Penguins does have a giant community, a giant fan base. Could it be the next big thing? It definitely could be. With the price discovery to the downside, it's just not what the charts are conveying to me. The charts are conveying to me. All right, XCN, we can dive on into XCN, Paul McLeod. Let's dive on into Giga Chad, man. Let's look at Giga Chad. I think we looked at that here on the channel a while back. Giga Chad. Giga Chad, baby. Giga Chad. Giga Chad. It's like it was a Quagmire on Fibonacci, Quagmire on Family Guy. Giggity. All right, let's dive on in. 4-hour time frame. Giga Chad looking. You're about to test that 4-hour 200 SMA. I do like how you are tapping. How you got above that 4-hour 200 SMA. That looks very, very good. When you got above it last time, you went on a little bit of a mooner. You got above it. You're fighting with the 4-hour 200 SMA now. Let's zoom in on the smaller time frame, see what we're seeing. The 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour are all in this zone right here. You get a little bit more of a push up, and these moving averages can start the curve. You could start going on a mooner, man. You can start going on a mooner. Now, you are making... lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Can this be considered? I still think this is a lower high. So what would I be looking for here out of a reverse? I want to see this push up further and crack this line right here. I want to see a higher high be created here on the smaller time frame, on the daily. Now, what I do see here is a potential inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder, shoulder, head, right shoulder on the daily, shoulder, head, right shoulder. I think that is likely. It is very, very likely here. If you were speculating on this being a higher high compared to this week right here, you can take your Fibonacci from swing low to swing high, and you can get that bounce off the 618. Did we get there? No, we did not get there yet. That's just out about 0.01435. That is very, very likely to me come down, touch the 618 or 786 before moving further to the upside. That would keep that shoulder, head, right shoulder intact. The way the market structure is fanning out, the high volume nodes sitting here, you're getting a little bit of support. It looks okay to me. It looks okay to me for a reversal to the upside for Giga Chad. However, this thing has been beaten down, and you could even argue that this is more of a bear flag, brother. You could argue that this is a bear flag looking to break to the downside further. That's not what I'm looking at. I don't want to see that for Giga Chad. I have heard also another coin that has a really, really cool community. I don't know much about the project, but yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out, man. I'm looking for the shoulder, head, right shoulder out of here, but you did break the lows back here at about 4 cents, and you've been on a downward trajectory ever since. Let's see if Giga Chad could get out of here. Do you have any divergence? You didn't form any divergence there. Let's see about on the 4-hour. No. I'm not seeing a lot of major divergence here on the 4-hour that was able to kick you up out of here. So yeah, I'd just be keeping this. I would keep it on the radar, man. But you want to hold above this 4-hour 200 SMA. That is for sure. You do not want to break that 4-hour 200 SMA, which is sitting just beneath you, just by about a few percent, man. Just by about a few percent here, 3% to the downside. So I would be watching this 4-hour 200 SMA. As long as you're above that 4-hour 200 SMA, you're all right. But you start closing candles underneath there, brother. That could be a trip to the downside. Why? Because you got the 4-hour, the 3-hour, the 2-hour, and the 1-hour. You would have rejected all from. That's not what we want to see here for any of these assets that are falling to the downside, on price discovery to the downside, you don't want those moving averages to get tight and break further down, because then they'll just start fanning out like the alligator mouth, and that's not what you want to see. All right, diving on in. That's Giga Chad in a nutshell, baby. In a nutshell. We checked out AYO Protocol. Sitting as a kid. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for dropping that on my radar. We got XCN, Onyx Coin. We haven't looked at that in a minute. XCN, baby. XCN on the perpetuals. This thing was all the rage, baby. This thing was all the rage. I remember this one was going on a moonshot mission. I don't remember when we drew this. This is on the 1 hour time frame. XCN was what am I looking at? Bitcoin? XCN, baby. XCN on the perpetuals on Kraken. No. XCN. We'll look at it on weeks. All right, XCN. This thing had massive interest. I don't remember what the news was, but it was something massive, and everybody was chasing to the upside. I remember this. This was insane. Yeah, this is just a testament to show. This is just like bounce token or auction. A lesson for us all to be careful when chasing green candles. A lesson to us all. All right, so here we are. XCN formed what? Bearish divergence on the daily. Very strong bearish divergence on the daily. You have that swing across a price action. Well, you have one of the most violent swing ups you'd ever see in your life. That is bearish divergence on the daily. If these two lines would cross, if they continued, that is bearish divergence. That looks bearish divergence is screaming in your face, saying that you're going to break this low here, which you're about to do before you crack this high. If this bearish divergence does play out, and it may have here. Did it play out? It did. Look at that wick. That bearish divergence did play out to the downside, saying that you're going to crack this wick, this low. Woo! It didn't play out yet. It didn't. I stand correct. I stand correct. It didn't pull it to the wick. You're likely to break this wick right here, that low, before you crack this high up here. That is daily bearish divergence, and it's screaming in your face right now for XCN. With that being said, XCN is likely coming down to an area of massive interest. What's that area of massive interest? That's right. Everybody here on this channel knows, baby. Let's pull out our Fibonacci. Oh, we are coming down to the 886. Fell below the 786. Tried to get a little bit of a reaction off it. Did not happen. Now you have the daily 200 SMA standing in the way and the 886 support to the downside. This could be the bounce area for Onyx Coin. It really can for XCN. It really can. I know we had a monumental run up, but hey, look at the price history of this thing. This was a crazy run for XCN. Look at this thing, baby. Look at this thing. You were flagging to the upside on the smaller time. I remember 21x in about 30 days. This is what gets the public hyped up. I'm telling you, you'll see it on X, on Twitter, on the news. People being like, "Oh!" Everybody freaking out because, oh, it already went up 30x. It could 30x again. That mindset is what gets people wrecked in crypto, baby. It is. And now retracing down to a key retracement. Altcoins do like to occasionally come down to that 886 region. Can we get that bounce here for XCN? Are you going to get that FOMO again to the upside for this asset? It can happen. It can definitely happen. But until I see some kind of consolidation here above the daily 200 SMA, I want to see that daily 200 SMA get touched and see what the reaction is around this zone. You are forming daily bullish divergence for XCN. Look at this daily bullish divergence here, and you got to zoom in pretty tight to see it. Let's pull this out here. You have a swing across. Is this a swing across in price? It still swings down a little bit. I still don't like that. Yeah, I'm not going to call that daily bullish divergence. Yes, it would cross. That would have been invalidated right there. So, yeah, I'm going to scrap that idea. But that's what I'm looking at for XCN. I'm looking for that daily 200 MA touch. I want to see how it reacts there. If we get the bounce off the daily 200 SMA, along with the stop beneath it, that wick is not a bad idea. Using the 200 SMA as your shield, baby. Using the 200 SMA as your shield, even along now, coming up to a 618-786 bearish Fibonacci retracement from this swing high right here. If you make a lower high, you made a lower low, lower high, lower low, you could potentially come up and get a squeeze through this gap in the VRVP. If you were to reclaim this high volume node at about 1 1/10 of a penny, looks good, man. It looks good for a bounce here, but I wouldn't touch this until you get some kind of confirmation that this 200 MA on the daily is going to hold for XCN, baby, for XCN. Let's get a sip of the coffee, baby. Let's get this energy going up to the upside, Thank you all for being here. All right, Smokey McPherson, welcome in, man. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Woo, woo. That stuff dries out your uvula sometimes, man. Got my whole arsenal of drinks. All right, let's dive on into the chat. Hey, thank you each and every one of you for being here. We're diving through those altcoins that you guys are dropping in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bitcoin dominance getting stronger and stronger by the day. Christoph, I hear you, brother. I hear you. JJ says Pudgy will move like 8 did. Yeah, man. Yeah, it could. It could. Many cryptos making new lows. You're talking about every single altcoin in the game, man, with the exception of a few. I totally hear you. I totally hear you. Engine. Yeah, let's dive on in. ZBCN. I'll check that out for you, Smokey McPherson. Christoph, thank you. Let's dive on into ENJI Engine, baby. Engine. I don't know anything about this coin, baby. I don't even need to know the names of the coin to tell you whether I'm bullish or bearish. This is just talking about when I say whenever I spec, because I know I did a lot of it the other day. When I talk about speculation has nothing to do with the charts. Charting is independent of the name. I'll click on this. I don't even need to know that it's engine. And I can tell you whether it's bullish or bearish based off the analysis that I do, right? Not based off of the technical. I don't know anything about this project, and we're going to dive on into the technical analysis of it all. The technical analysis. Wow, making new low. This is crazy. You're below where you started in 2020, which is even worse because there's so much more money in the system right now. So this, even if it was trading at the same amount here, it's still valued less in dollars. This is great. Whoa, engine. We used to trade at $4.84, currently trading at 7 cents. You know, a testament to the volatility of this industry, All right, here we go, baby. Here we go. I do see some kind of consolidation here, going on, Let's see here. We do have this swing down here, this lower, this support line right here for engine. Looking okay. Now I'm going based off of you're in price discovery to the downside, brother. You're in price discovery to the downside. However, you do have multiple touches here that say that this is an area where the asset likes to bounce from, and you're in a falling wedge. A falling wedge, baby. They do break up 60% of the time. However, you are testing the bottom of this wedge. And what I will say about falling wedges, yes, I say they break up 60% of the time. Well, boys crypto, what happens the other 40%? This does. They break down to the downside, and they do so parabolically. It can get violent to the downside. That would take you below zero, which is impossible. So you can go on a nuke mission for this coin. You have to, if you really believe in the project, these are some of the best prices that you've actually ever seen on this coin. You got to look and you got to know that the team's there, that they're fighting, that there's a good white paper, and they have projects going on into the future here. Otherwise, it's just speculation. Not a game that I want to play here with engine on price discovery to the downside. Does not look good. Some of my favorite projects in the game, Jupiter, I own some Jupiter. That's on price discovery to the downside too. Looking absolutely horrible from a charting perspective, but I still do have some Jupiter. Why? Because I like the project and I think it can do some damage over time. Right? But it's not something I'm heavily leveraged in right now. Like nothing. No, you got it. This is why, and everybody who's invested the majority of their crypto portfolio in Bitcoin is very happy. Why? Because they're not seeing Bitcoin sit below its all-time lows. When a lot of the altcoins, I would say about half the altcoins that I've looked at are sitting below their bear market lows. Crazy to see. Engine, baby, engine. Do you have any kind of divergence? You did here. You did on the daily time frame, but violated, baby, violated. You had that swing down on price action while you have this swing up on the RSI indicator. That's daily bullish divergence. You're violating it as of right now. That wick violating it. Did it get violated? It did. Yeah, this wick came below this wick. That daily bullish divergence is invalidated now. Now you got to look for other. You got to look for other daily bullish divergence or some kind of high time frame bullish divergence, or look at playing 200 MA dominoes. You start playing 200 MA dominoes, you can get a pushback to the upside, baby. But man, I do not like what I am seeing here from a lot of these altcoins. Engine, not looking good to me. Not something I'm willing to touch right now. All right, baby, let's dive on into the chat. Thank you for Engine. We had another one right after. Let's dive on in. ZBCN, absolutely. And I'm not hating on Engine, man. I hope if you guys are invested in this coin, I hope it does well. I'm just saying what the charts are saying. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I've been wrong before. You guys see me on Twitter. I've been wrong before. Could this be a double bottom here? Definitely could be. Engine, baby. I'm just saying what the charts are saying, everybody. I'm just saying what the charts are saying. But much love, much love. I hope it goes well for each and every one of you that are in this coin. I really do. I really do. All right, diving on into ZBCN for Smokey McPherson. ZBCN, baby. Is it on TradingView? ZBCN on their perpetuals. All right, here we go. Looking a little different, actually. Wow, it's crazy. All the altcoins looking kind of similar. And ZBCN. All right, ZBCN showing a little bit of, let's see, that's on the 4 hour, on the daily. All right, zooming on in here. Let's see. So, ZBCN on the macro. Let's look at the weekly here. ZBCN on the macro did make a higher high. And now, did you come down to an 886? I think that was a deeper retracement than the 886, brother. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, you came down to the 886. So, you're currently bouncing off the 886 and holding that level for your first higher low. Yeah. You know, and that looks good. You know, lower high. It's tough here. I would say this. Let's zoom on out. Let's look at this from a different perspective. I would say you're trading in a range. The range got broken to the upside. And now you're still back in this range and you're trading right above the point of control. The point of control, boys crypto, what's the point of control? The point of control is the area on the VRVP, this giant area that represents the number of orders that have been placed in the books, buys and sells together, where it's showing us that the maximum amount, the most amount of ZBCN was traded at these prices that you are seeing right now. And the fact that you're trading right at that point of control, I would love to see a push up here. Let's zoom on in here. I would love to see a push up and a reclaim of this point of control for further push to the upside here for ZBCN, baby. It looks okay. You are starting to get that bend on the RSI. I do like that. Let's pull up the stochastics here. Kind of need it for this one, baby. So the stochastics on the daily, pinned at the bottom. You're getting that cross on the daily, suggesting that momentum is to the upside with being above that point of control. Doesn't look bad. Does not look bad. It looks okay to me. It looks okay. ZBCN, with that being said, you've been ranging for about 6 months. And this range did get cracked to the upside. You weren't able to hold that support resistance flip, fell beneath. Support resistance flip again. Now it's resistance back to the downside. Resistance again. This area up here is served as a very strong resistance line for you, brother. A very strong resistance line for you. So, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad area to get in. I don't think it's a bad area to get in. But when you're ranging, yeah, when you're below the point of control and you're looking at these support, this would be a good area. And if you did get a push up, I wouldn't chase in here. But you get above the daily 200 SMA. I think that's very, very bullish. You get above either the point of control and reclaim it as support, or above the 200 MA and reclaim the daily 200 MA support before moving further to the upside. I think that looks very, very, very good for ZBCN, man. Thank you for dropping that on in the chat. That's ZBCN, and I know nothing about the project, but it looks pretty good comparatively relative to some of these altcoins. Let's dive on over into the bubbles and see how we're doing here. Oh my gosh, we're getting a green 15 minutes. That's nice to see. Look at this, everybody. How we were talking about, remember at the start I was like, DEXE, what happened? On the smaller time frames, whenever you see big bubbles like this, there's a mix of red and green, but it's red up here because the average, which is skewed by DEXE and EOS, which has been on a tear. What happened to EOS today? These bigger bubbles can skew the colors of these tabs up here, just for your knowledge. Biggest red on the day is often the biggest green on the bounce. Look at that for DEXE, up 13% this past hour. Yeah, it's looking okay. All right, diving on in. We want to look at Ethereum for JJ. Absolutely. Ethereum. Let's dive on into Ethereum. So I was long on Ethereum. Got stopped out at the bottom, baby. At the bottom. Got stopped out here at about 1775. And look at that. They reversed it to the upside and just trolling me in the face. What in the world? Ethereum is looking... I was speculating on the bounce here, this daily bullish divergence here. Once this daily bullish divergence got invalidated, I had to say, hey, that's it, baby, that's it. So that's why the reasoning I put my stop beneath this wick, or was it beneath this wick? No, I cut it off a little earlier than that. And man, you get that reversal to the upside and you're like, tartar sauce, tartar sauce, tartar sauce. It happens. Risk management, everybody, with trading is the key. And this was a tough call to make, man. This is a tough call to make. You have this daily bullish divergence suggesting you're going to crack this high at about 25.5 before you crack this wick low. That daily bullish divergence still does stand to this day, even though this daily bullish divergence has been forming since the 11th of March for a couple of weeks now. And despite the last couple of weeks, or the last week or so of negative price action for Ethereum, we are getting that bounce. The bullish divergence still intact here for Ethereum. And you can even go to say, you can even move this over and you could say, hey, this bullish divergence right here, baby. Let's zoom this out here. You do have bullish divergence right here as well. You have a swing down that's a little weaker, but that stronger bullish divergence is still intact. So that's some confluence there that Ethereum may be looking for a reversal to the upside. Swing down on price action, swing up on the RSI. The RSI curving very violently. What are the stochastics saying? Stochastic RSI, baby. Looking to curve to the upside for the daily. Looking really good for Ethereum here for a reversal. Could you get that W bounce, crack this high, and start creating some higher lows? That's all you've been doing on Ethereum. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. That's all you've been doing on Ethereum. So right now, you need Ethereum to get a bounce and crack this $2,100 level for continuation for the upside. If not, the risk here on Ethereum is getting relatively high. Why? Because we zoom on out here, we did have this macro support resistance flip. This area right here, where this we rejected from back here, did serve as a key area. This area has been support, even support multiple times here in this zone on the daily. Support. We broke beneath it, and then the support resistance flip came in here at about $2,100. That is horrible on the macro for Ethereum, saying that yes, the bears are in control up here at this $2,100 level. Despite this bounce that we're getting, the bears are still in control. The ultimate scenario for Ethereum and the next long opportunity I would look at for Ethereum, I'm not going to mess with it down here. I don't want to. I'm looking for a higher high and a reclaim of this support. On a reclaim of this support, we get that little bounce. I'll put a stop below, and that'll be my long position for Ethereum for the bull market, baby, of 2025. That would be the sign to me that we're going to get some recovery here in the near term. Yes, I'm waiting for that price action to push to the upside. Why don't you take it? Why don't you take the long now? Boy, shit would be a much better risk to reward. I cannot say that Ethereum is going to break this level because we had a macro support resistance flip on the bigger time frames. I have to respect that. I really do. And even here, you know, you could speculate on if you're looking to short Ethereum, you're like, this thing's going to $1,500. Where would you likely get into your short? This support resistance flip, this is support. So, you know, short ideas for Ethereum would be coming up to this zone right here, maybe the 618.786, putting your stop above this support resistance flip and riding it to the downside, that at $1,600 level. That would represent a really good risk to reward trade. And I know a lot of short traders are going to be sitting on the sidelines waiting for that push up on Ethereum. Just my ideas, baby. Just my ideas. Ethereum, baby. For JJ, thank you. Smokey McPherson said, I forget which guy it was, but I was watching him and he said you guys were gonna do some videos together. Hey, yeah, man, on the Crypto Profit Brothers, that's our new channel. I stream with PMG every single Sunday. Project Moon Gold Crypto, baby, every single Sunday. We're doing that. We're gonna start streaming on Saturdays to potentially. Was an awesome stream. Had several hundred people in there. Was super great time. We had a lot of people engaging on in the chat. Drop on over to that channel. Drop a subscribe, like, and tick on the bell so you guys can see us streaming together. And it's just two different ideas that sometimes we come together and we agree on things. Other times we disagree, but we welcome that. We welcome those different ideas. We welcome those different ideas into this charting space so that everybody can get the full grasp of not only risk, but different kind of trade ideas using different setups. He trades a lot with parallel channels. I use the 200 SMA. I use stochastics. And the RSI, bullish, bearish, divergence. Those are the things I look for. Momentum, swing trades. And he trades in a lot of parallel channels, and that works really, really well for him. He has this 3-5-7 risk-reward ratio trading strategy. It's really cool to see. So when we both come together and we both think or see things in a different way that kind of overlap with one another, it shows that a lot of indicators do point in the same direction whenever you're looking at things in confluence with one another. So That's what I'm looking at with Project Moon Gold Crypto. We're going to take on Crypto Banter, baby, a channel that has promoted a lot of hype and lost people a lot of money. Lost people a lot of money without acknowledging the downside risk of crypto, baby. The downside risk of crypto, very important, as a lot of people who gets wrecked in these markets. The retail traders that know absolutely nothing about what they're doing, and they promote to that, and it drives us absolutely insane. So that's why we're trading with that's why I'm trading with Project Moon Gold Crypto, to bring you guys both the bullish and bearish case scenarios, so you guys can get understand the broader macroeconomic aspects and the technical analysis before you get into any trade or investment. Of course, for entertainment purposes only and no financial advice, but that is what we're doing here. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys supporting that channel as well, baby, as well. Hey, yeah, what's the channel called? It's called Crypto Profit Brothers. I'll put it in here for you, brother. I got you. And I'll drop the link here in a bit. I don't have a moderator. Got to get a moderator, baby. Got to get a moderator. But that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. We want to look at Plume for reviews. Thanks for jumping on in, man. I appreciate it. I'd be happy to look at that for you. Plume, baby. Plume on the perpetuals. Look at that. Showing a little bit of strength here, baby. Showing a little bit of strength here. Newer project. Yeah, newer project. You can tell by that dino down here on TradingView anyway. All right, so Plume, cracking the highs here, cracking the highs that were made back here on the 31st of January, coming back down to that area, something that assets love to do when they break the prior highs. They love to come back, support, resistance, flip. It looks okay. Yeah, I got to see where these wicks are. Let's look at the daily here. Let's look at the daily. That looks like a beautiful support resistance flip based on candle body closures here. That looks pretty good to me. You had resistance, 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 resistance. Look at this. This was a whole resistance area right here. You broke through and you had a massive squeeze to the upside, coming back down, testing it as support. Stochastics are reset, ready to go. Your high volume nodes sitting down here at about 14 cents. So you're above the point of control. Looks okay to me. Looks pretty good to me. Where would I speculate on a bounce here on these tokens that have just been released? You can get bounces at the higher Fibonacci's, but look at that. You came down to where? Everybody knows on this channel, we love the golden pocket, baby. The 618786 Fibonacci retracement for the bounce to the upside for Plume. Looks pretty good to me, man. Looks pretty good, at least from the perpetuals contract point of view. So where would I look at upon a break of this high? So you don't have a lot of resistance here. You got a little bit here in this zone here, in this zone between 21 and 24 cents. But you crack this high, where do I think that we could go here? Well, pulling out our extension tool, I use their retracement tool and just pull it to the bottom. That gives you your Fibonacci extensions, baby. The Fibonacci extensions, I think you crack this high, you're likely to come up to about that 30 cent level, 38 cent level at the 2.618. I would definitely take some profits. If you're in this coin, man, if you're in this coin, the 1.618, a very likely area for at least traders to be taking profits. And I know traders are in this coin. Why? Because we're looking at a perpetual contracts chart on Bybit, baby, on Bybit. So there are traders that are in leverage positions, and the 1.618 is an area where traders love to take profit, baby. They love to take profit. Just like your Fibonacci retracements, you got your Fibonacci extensions. In those areas on Blue Sky's breakouts, that's all you have to go on. That is all you have to go on besides measure move targets for these assets. And you can say, oh, with the flagpole extrapolation target, the Fibonacci extension targets trump all of that, in my opinion. So you do have a little bit of a bull flag going on here, a little bit of a bull flag of Rooney to the upside for Plume. Looks very likely. We just got to hold above that point of control, and I'd love to see the support resistance flip area hold. So I'd be monitoring that throughout the day, man. It looks really, throughout the next couple days, it looks good for Plume here. It looks good for Plume. The stochastics are reset. The RSI is at the 50 mark. Looks all right. Stochastics pointing in the upward direction. Looks okay. The 4 hour is a little cooked. You may get a little bit of consolidation here, and that's what I'd be looking at, man. Zooming on in here, we could see that we're reclaiming the 15-minute 200 MA, a very bullish signs. You reclaim the 15, you're likely going to come and test these smaller time frame ones. Look at that, the 1-minute 200 SMA. We know what happens when we get above the 1-minute 200 SMA, baby. We're likely to come to the 3. The 3's all the way up here at about 17.8, and then the 5, which is further up. Yeah, so these 200 MAs are going to serve as your ping pong levels to the upside for Plume and to the downside, right? The support areas are going to be in these areas. You're below the 2-hour 200 SMA. The 2-hour 200 SMA was what gave you problems here. You pushed up 2-hour 200 SMA resistance. You broke through support, resistance. And now you're struggling. You want to get back above that 2-hour 200 SMA, the 1-hour 200 SMA. 15-minute you were claiming. So it's saying that on these smaller time frames are likely to break, and you're likely to come up and at least test this 1 hour 200 SMA at about 17.8. Looks good to me, man. It looks good to me. Looks relatively strong. Look at this. Have we pulled up any chart that looks like this? No, most charts look like this. Look like this, and then we're trading down here. This is what most charts look like, and now hey, Plume looking good. Plume showing relative strength. And I don't know anything about the project, but the technicals look good, man. The technicals look good. All right, diving on in, baby, diving on in. Plume looks all right. It really does. It really does. Came down to the 618. That's where it likes to retrace from. Support resistance flip. It looks pretty good. Reviews looks pretty good. Yeah, May Rocket. Yeah, man, absolutely. I just searched for Josh and Boyce and they're, whoa. I may have to text him about that. Hold on. Let's see it here, baby. Ignore my YouTube, all the gaming, anime, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Josh and Boyce, baby. Here we go. Okay. That's what we're looking at. This channel here, Josh and Boyce, it's at Crypto Profit Brothers. We may have to change that up. Josh and Boyce here. This is what we were doing. Looked really good. Super awesome. And you'll see it on both my channel and Crypto Profit Brothers. We'll stream to both. And I'll be able to see regardless of what channel you're in, I'll be able to see all the chats combined and everything. And yeah, everything down the middle with us, man. Everything down the middle. You're going to get 50% me, 50% Josh. We'll both be on the same screen. We'll swap our screens back and forth, and it's going to look good. It was a great stream, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to do that with him, as he is pretty well established in the space. And it was great. It was a great time. I had a great time, and I look forward to next Sunday. It's going to be, I look forward to Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. And we haven't determined a time yet. Probably going to be at 7. I think we did. When did we do this? 7 Eastern Standard. We did it at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baby. That's when we did it last time. I will put that on my X on Twitter at BoyceCrypto102. Follow me for all my updates, everybody. For all my updates, and I'll put on there when we're gonna be streaming next on Sunday. We may even be streaming Saturday. Keep up to date with me. This is a stream that we did. It was a great time. Had a lot of fun. It was a good time, and I look forward to that on Sunday, baby. On Sunday. Hey, I appreciate you, Smoking Fierce. Hey, subbing, I appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. Yeah, Josh and Boyce, baby. Josh and Boyce. We're going to get that figured out so we can search Crypto Profit Brothers so we can get, what in the world? I don't know what happened with that. But yeah, Plume looking good to the upside, baby. To the upside. Over here to Bubbles, it is nice to see a green hour. I will say that. Nice to see a green hour. The 15-minute, what is going on? Yeah, so there is likely going to be a little bit of turbulence here, as Trump did tweet out earlier today that he has retaliatory tariffs coming for all the tariffs that were put on the United States today. The trade war is in effect, everybody. The trade war is in effect. U.S. economic calendar time, baby. U.S. economic calendar time. Let's look at what's coming up this week. This is a huge week. A huge week, everyone. A huge week. I'm telling you guys. We had about 100,000 less job openings this month. So that was interesting. The forecast, 100,000 less job openings this month. That is interesting to see. So what do we have the rest of this week? Tomorrow, don't care. I'm not even looking at tomorrow. ADP employment factor. You may have little niches in the market. Nothing what I'm seeing as important. What I'm going to look at for the rest of this week is this initial jobless claims, which will pair very nicely with job openings. The initial jobless claims starting here on March 19th, expected 226,000. If we do get a number that is higher than 226,000 and we have less job openings, that may be, we're going to need a pretty big number on initial jobless claims on Thursday in order to get that push for this man right here, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell, speaking at 11:25 for them to even adjust rates in any way, shape, or form. Inflation's bad. Stagflation's bad, and mixed with tariffs, it brews the environment for a weakening economy. It's not what we want to see. Fed Chair Jerome Powell, people hate on him, I know it, but his job is not to do with the markets. It's to maximize employment while minimizing inflation. Inflation is currently not doing well, not coming down to the benchmark 2% that the Federal Reserve is searching for. And even though Trump wants him to adjust rates, lower rates to pair with his tariffs, which is what we've done in history, and we've never had this environment in history where we haven't had a quantitative easing environment while we did tariffs at the same time. Quantitative tightening and tariffs at the same time bruise economic weakness. I saw projections today. The United States GDP expected to fall over 1.3% in the first quarter, which that's bad. That's bad. It's been growing ever since COVID. It's been crazy. And now for the first time, we're starting to see some negative numbers. We need Federal Chairman Jerome Powell to come out and be relatively dovish and to start working with Donald Trump. If he does not, that can be very bad for risk on assets if he doesn't hint on the money printer getting turned on again here in the near future. If he doesn't hint at that, we can expect there's going to be volatility this day. Market 11:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He comes out and he says good morning or good evening. What does he say? Good afternoon. He'll say good morning because it's 11:25. But he'll come out. He'll adjust his tie. He'll speak. He'll lay into the microphone like this. I got my microphone right. Good afternoon. And then the market will just go frenzy, baby. Frenzy. And every little word that rolls off that man's tongue based off of how he answers different kind of questions. And hopefully we have some smart reporters in there that don't ask, as Donald Trump said, stupid question. What a stupid question. Yeah, we don't want reporters in there like that. We want smart reporters that ask good quality questions that Jerome Powell can allow us to hint to whether that money printer is going to get turned on or not later on this year, potentially even the next few months. That would be really, really, really good to see for markets. That's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. Diving on into the chat. Plume to the outside. Smokey McPherson, I appreciate the sub. Yeah, Barra and Plume. Yeah. Barra. Let's look at Barra, baby. We looked at Barra the other day, and Barra was on an absolute tear to the upside and since got a little bit of a retracemento. Where did we get that bounce? Off the 618-786 bearish Fibonacci bullish Fibonacci retracement, baby. You did get that cup and handle. Got that bounce off the 618-786, and now you're moving to the upside. You are sitting on top of this high volume, though. Let's look at this on the 4-hour. You're testing the 4-hour 200 SMA. You do not want to lose that. The 4-hour 200 SMA is key to remain above. Very, very important. You get above, you stay above. You get below, you tend to stay below. And I know it's kind of not evident on this asset since it's not very old, but yes, you want to stay above this 4-hour 200 SMA. Very, very true. The stochastics are pointing down. Not a very, very good sign here. I want to see this bounce off the daily, the 4-hour 200 SMA. You did get that golden pocket bounce. We'll pull a local fib here and see what's going on for bear chain. Did we get a 618-786 bounce from here? Very, very likely. Yep, we came back down in, bounced out the 4-hour 200 SMA, which is in our golden pocket. That serves as a very, very strong support zone. So you do not want to lose that. You do not want to lose this zone. What other 200 SMAs are beneath you? I don't think there would be any. You just fell beneath the 4, and the 3 hours just below the 786. Could you potentially come down there and touch that? Absolutely, but we need a little bit of a pump a lump here for bear chain to get back moving to the upside out of this cup and handle on the 4-hour time frame. Looks okay. It looks okay. I mean, but the rest of the market, it seems to be trading with the rest of the market kind of the 15-minute. Yeah, look at EOS. What is EOS doing? Let's dive on into EOS. Bear chain. That's what I'm seeing for bear chain. Cup and handle to the upside. There must have been some kind of news here. EOS, baby. EOS. EOS Fitness. Come on, man. Nope. Yeah, why did rally over 20% today? Staking yield increase. Rebranding the Vultra. Yeah, things like that. That'll spark price action and speculation, baby. That'll spark price action and speculation. But let's dive on into the charts to see what the charts have to say about EOS. The EOS, baby. EOS on the perpetuals. Look at that 4-hour candle to the upside for EOS. Whoa, look at that, to the upside for EOS here, for EOS on the daily, getting above that daily 200 SMA on the last 4 days. Maybe you've been on a monumental 43% pump while the rest of the market seems unsure. EOS looks to be moving to the upside with haste, everybody, with haste. With haste! What's that? Who used to do? Oh, Bridgerton? You guys ever watch Bridgerton? Honeycomb with haste. Hey, make haste. Make haste. I'm going to start using that on the stream here with that vocabulary. All right, so yeah, that swing down, you have this falling wedge here. It did look to break out, and you did get that breakout to the upside, and you haven't looked back since. You did have a false break back here. That looks okay. You're getting above that daily 200 SMA. Looks pretty good. Where's the weekly at? Weekly's well above you. You could definitely get a little bit of a squeeze here of about 100% for EOS. Where's the 2-day and a 3-day? 2-day, you're getting above the 2-day. You're getting above the 3-day. You get above the 3-day, baby. You're looking to go to the weekly. You could potentially go to the weekly. And the weekly stands about 100% up from where you are right now, looking like the hottest coin in the game. Getting above the 21 on the weekly looks very, very good for EOS. And on these runs for EOS, look, 5 weeks of straight pumpage, 267%. This could just be the beginning. With that being said, how many of these candles have we seen in the past? How many of these candles have we seen in the past where if you got in a long up here, you didn't get absolutely smacked? Right? Big green candles often lead to retracements. It's just a reality. Right here, retracement. You know, you did have a couple green candles in a row. You know, and you could use that exception, but you still... I just advise against chasing green candles because I know how that wrecks the majority of retail in crypto. We are not retail here. We are smart. We understand what retail does, and we're not looking to get into that game. So where would I be looking at for a potential reversal here for EOS? So EOS on a bearish Fibonacci retracement from this swing high to swing low, you're coming up to the 618786. This area right above you may be an area of resistance that you want to look at. You crack that 786 and you break this high. You could be looking to go and test this high here at $1.50. I know that's a little stretch here, but how did XCN start? It looked a lot like this. To the upside, baby, to the upside. So we'll have to see what happens here for EOS. Just something to keep on your radar. Nothing that I would absolutely FOMO into unless you're a high leverage trader. Scalper, zooming in here on the smaller time frames. You can get flags on the 1 minute time frame. Look at that bullish pennant here on the 1 minute that did break up to the upside, defying bearish divergence. To the upside, the measured move of that move did take you probably exactly to the target, did it not? Exactly to the target here on that. You did get that to the wick, that bullish flag on the 1 minute. You're consolidating right now in your next one. You have that flag here, flagpole on the flag. Flaggeroonie, baby, to the upside. Now, every flag that you make to the upside does increase the risk of that flag breaking to the downside. But EOS seems to be on an unstoppable tear. You're likely to flag in here until the 21 comes to price action. Life or vision, baby. Now, you are forming bearish divergence here on the 1 minute, are you not? Swinging across on price action while you are making higher highs. That is bearish divergence. Let's clear this up so it looks a little cleaner. You do have bearish divergence here. You have that swing up on price action, baby, while you have that swing across on the RSI. That's bearish divergence, suggesting that you break this low, here before you crack this high. This can be an immaculate short opportunity right here as you speak. So now I'm going to stay off of this. This would be too much for my mental to handle right now. This would be a short opportunity here with a stop above that wick and targeting that bearish divergence, playing out for a 4.82 risk to reward ratio right here. That would look really, really good to the downside from where you're at right now. But again, you're on a serious tear to the upside. You have a giant gap in the VR. There's no sell volume here. Anybody notice that? Isn't that crazy? No sell volume. That all the blues are buys, purples are sells. That's crazy. That's what I'm looking at here. For EOS, baby. For EOS. All right, diving on in. The Sin Nasty Kid wants to look at MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip. Yeah, let's dive on in. MetaDrip, or Sin Nasty Kid also said, hey, I appreciate you jumping on in the chat, man. You're an absolute legend. I appreciate you. All right, you think they'll say anything about a stimulus checks coming out tomorrow? I have no, in order for that to happen, we cannot be in a quantitative tightening environment with the stimulus check. They would have to turn on the money printer, and they would need Jerome Powell to do it in order to send out stimulus checks for everybody. That money needs to be printed. That's the only way. It doesn't come from reserves or anything like that. The United States is in debt. The only way it gets money to its citizens is by hitting that printing press, baby. By hitting that printing press. And you'd be crazy, guys. You wouldn't even believe it. Like, you go and you try to put money in a printer and print it like the United States government does. They got the police. They'll break in there and they'll put you in cuffs. They'll throw you into the back of the cop car saying you were doing something illegal. Doesn't make any sense to me. Crazy. Not that that's ever happened before. A little weird. And the paper feels all weird. I'm telling you guys. Really weird. All right. Diving on in for MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip. Diving on in. Drip. I drip, you drip. We drip. Coming down back from once we came back to this key support level. Why do I have this circle up here? Back to this key support level. That is held for MetaDrip over the past few days. Doesn't look like it's any different. You do seem to be forming a little bit of a descending triangle here. You're getting tight in this range. You have a very, very strong support line and a very, very tight downward sloping resistance line. You're getting close to a break for MetaDrip here. You are reversal on the RSI, so I would lean on this break into the upside. However, descending triangles do break down the majority of the time, just like bull Just like bull pennants break up a majority of the time, when they do, it's parabolic to the downside. Can be very parabolic from MetaDrip here to the downside. You get a break up here and you can get a monumental run to the upside, man. I'm telling you, you can. And this would be a 95% move for MetaDrip. I would keep this on your radar. You have to break it down on the smaller time frames and see what kind of moving averages that you're staying above. You're currently below the 1 hour. Not a good sign. You're below the 15. You're below the 7, the 5. You're below the 3 and you're below the 1. So in order to stay bullish from MetaDrip, you got to start playing 200 MA dominoes to the upside, man. You got to break the 3, the 5, the 7, the 15. You got to get a turnaround here, and you got to get a turnaround soon. You start playing with these support levels right here, of which that you don't have a lot of price history. Even on the 15-minute time frame, you don't have a lot of price history down here, even though that this has been massive support area. You don't want to see a nuker here, man. You really, really don't. And this is a low market cap coin. It's relatively higher risk. And it looks pretty good, on the white paper. It looks all right, but the market has to agree. So I would be looking for a bounce here. You need a bounce here from MetaDrip. If not, and you go on price discovery to the downside, man, that could be a wash, and that's not something that we want to see for a project like this. Just something that I'd be keeping on my radar, man. Just something that I would be keeping on my radar. 15-minute even curving down here. That's not what I like to see. We'll see as the night develops. We'll see as the night develops for MetaDrip, baby. For MetaDrip. That's what I'm looking at for you, Sin Nasty Kid. MetaDrip looking to play 200 MA dominoes to the upside if it can. If not, we're likely to come down and test this key support level that has been tested all the way since back here on the 10th of March. On the 10th of March, baby. Boom, 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 boom. How many times can that door get hit with the police battering ram before it caves in, man? I don't know. Does it have another hit in it before it reverses to the upside? I mean, you could argue the same thing with this descending triangle. Boom, 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 boom. You're getting tight on MetaDrip. My move is, I don't know what direction it's going to go in, man. And you have to play your probabilities. This is a low market cap coin. But you're getting close to a break, man. You're getting close to a break. It's getting tight in this channel right here. I wish you the best of luck in this one, man. I am not personally invested in this, but I hope it works out well for you, man. I really, really do. The project looks good on paper. Let's see if the charts agree. So I'm going to leave this here. We'll see how this goes over the next 24 hours or so. I'm not making any kind of call for MetaDrip right now. You need a bounce here. And you need it soon for MetaDrip to the upside. You have a very clear downward sloping resistance line. So this resistance line has to break here, man. It has to break at about that 83673 level. Before you crack the 64.22. And I know that's crazy. It's crazy to think, even if you're looking at candles like this, we're looking at the 4-hour time frame, that these candles, like between resistance line, you still have 7% to go to the downside and 20% to go to the upside before you test any support or major support or resistance according to the wicks. This is a crazy volatile asset. If the crypto was volatile, it is. MetaDrip is like the crypto on steroids because of the market cap. Anything that's low market cap like that will have these massive candles. Look at this. This was a singular day just the other day that MetaDrip popped in 12 hours up 80% and in 16 hours up 80%. What a move from MetaDrip. These are the kind of moves that you can get. You touch the support line, you get enough buying pressure, baby. If there's buy pressure down here, and it's clear that there is based off of the support level, you could get that push to the upside. You break that resistance and you could be going on a moonshot mission for MetaDrip, baby. For MetaDrip. That's what I'm looking at for MetaDrip here on the 4-hour time frame. You got to start playing that 200 MA dominoes, man. I'm not joking around with that. This 200 MA, you need to watch the 1-minute 200 SMA. I would like to get above the 5-minute 200 SMA to get the warm and fuzzies before I went to bed, before I laid down and went to sleep at night. If I was holding a buttload of MetaDrip, I would want to see us close some candles above the 200 MA and at least know I have that kind of shielding underneath me to prevent from a massive dump to the downside. That's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. Back over to the bubbles, we are getting a little bit of mixed green, red, green, DEXEEOs on that news to the upside. Look at that, 17% is crazy. Down 17% on the day, up 17% on the hour. Look at this day. Look at this. That's volatility of crypto, baby. And that ultimately, that's why we're here. These are the moves that'll make us some money, baby. These are the moves that'll make us some money. I am sitting on my hands with leverage right now. I want to see what Jerome Powell has to say on Friday, baby. Hey, I will be here with you guys throughout the week on X. I appreciate each and every single one of you for dropping on into the chat with me here tonight, baby. Tonight, man, this would have gotten stopped out. Look at that. You would have gotten that push to the upside, stopped out. 1-minute time frame, high risky. That 1-minute bearish divergence did not kick in yet. Yeah, you got to see. And then you're like, and on the 1 minute, this is crazy because then you have, okay, that bearish divergence didn't work out. You have what? Hidden bullish divergence here. You have the swing up here while you have that swing down on the RSI while you're getting that curve. That's hidden bullish divergence on the 1. The 1 minute time frame trading is absolutely crazy, everybody. Is absolutely crazy. And we do it occasionally here on the channel. I have a couple high risk sessions that I've been over in the past where I've made some quick money really quickly off of high leverage scalps. You guys can see that in my past videos, my past lives. But man, it is a wild ride. It is different trading that. You can break things down on the 15-minute, take some breaths, look at it, right? Because each candle is 15 minutes worth of time. Here, things change so quickly. This is absolutely, it's carnage. It's crazy carnage in the market when you're trading on the 1 minute. And some people even trade on the 1 or 10-second charts. Can you believe that? I've never traded on anything less than the 1 minute chart, but man, it is a wild ride. But that's what I'm looking at for you guys throughout the night. I'm not in any trade reviews. I'm not in any trades right now. Why am I not in any trades right now? Because I know the environment that we're in with all these tariffs, reciprocal tariffs coming out tomorrow from the United States. Jerome Powell speaking on Friday. I know the likelihood of me getting wicked out on any kind of leverage trade is relatively high. I'm just sitting on my hands. I'm still holding my spot. Spot doing great. I was very happy in spot bags today. Looked really good for a pump to the upside, but I'm sitting on my hands because I know the probability of me winning a trade is lower now, on a swing trade on the daily, for example. Well, I'd be looking for swing trades on the daily right now, but it's unlikely for them to pan out if we get bad news today or this upcoming day, tomorrow, or when Fed Chair Jerome Powell comes out on Friday. If we do not get a quantitative easing environment, I'm going to have to start looking for shorts, because without a quantitative easing environment, this asset class, the stock market in general, will not thrive. So I have to see what Jerome Powell says here on Friday. And I was talking about tariffs today. I'd likely open up trades here on Tuesday night. And just based off of the price action that we got a massive push to the upside for BTC, a massive push to the upside. We did fill that CME gap at about $84,000. And yeah, it got filled, and now we're moving further to the downside, struggling around that 4-hour 200 SMA. I want to see a little more price action before I get in any kind of leverage trades, man. That's why I'm not in any leverage trades at this time. I will keep you guys posted on that on my X throughout the week. If I do enter in any leverage trades, if I see a high probability setup, I'm going to take it, baby. I'm going to take it, but I just have to be careful, because the next 3 days are going to be 3 days of massive economic news. Very difficult for leverage traders to thrive in a swing trade environment when you have massive news coming and hitting you in the face 3 days back to back. Tomorrow we have tariffs. Thursday we have initial jobless claims, and on Friday we have Jerome Powell speaking. The rest of the week likely to be very volatile, not just in crypto but in your stocks. So just watch everything, everybody. Watch your assets, watch your coins as this week goes, as this week develops, and I will keep you guys up to date going on into those events. But that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin bouncing up and down eventually. Yeah, man, yeah. The craziness, the volatility in the market, even just looking at the daily. Look at this Chop City. Ever since the beginning of March, we've been in Chop City for Bitcoin, ranging between 95 and 75,000. These candles have been absolutely crazy. Very little consolidation or continuation in either direction. A lot of leverage traders have been getting wiped out here, including me. I've lost my last 3 trades. I took the L on Twitter. You guys can see that. It's crazy. It's a crazy environment right now. So I'm sitting on my hands and I'm waiting for high probability setups to reveal themselves to me, and I'm kind of waiting for this news to kind of fizzle out, because every time I see some kind of tweet or something by the president, it just does this, or any kind of macroeconomic news, and I know that's going to be massive when this potential trade war is starting this upcoming week. So that's what I'm looking at. But until tomorrow, guys, thank you for joining me here tonight. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I will see you guys tomorrow on the live. I'll be bringing it to you live every single night, baby. We're going to dive on into it, and we're going to get the hottest setups in the game. We're going to just kind of observe the market right now and hopefully start getting back into this leverage trading soon when we get some kind of clarity on the macroeconomic environment that we are currently sitting in. We have questions about tariffs. We have no idea who we're tariffing. We have no idea if the tariffs are even going to go into retaliatory tariffs are even going to come into place yet. We're putting retaliatory tariffs as of right now on other countries starting tomorrow. We have no data on what those are. There's so much uncertainty in the market. Let's take a look real quick before we head out at gold. Gold, the number one indicator of uncertainty in the market, booming to the upside, just hitting another all-time high yesterday. All-time high for gold yesterday at $31.50 an ounce. Gold being at an all-time high screams to me that this is one of the most uncertain times in the economy ever in the United States. Why? Because when people get scared, when institutions get scared, when governments get scared, they'll hold on to physical assets that cannot be taken from them and have historically held their assets throughout the course of time. I have a little silver coin here, 1923 silver piece, $1, baby, $1. I don't know. I like having this on my desk, my little trinket. But that's what I'm looking at as we go on into the night. I will see you guys tomorrow on the Boys Crypto Show. Thank you for joining me. Keep up to date on me Keep up to date with me on X, baby, on X. I will see you tomorrow. Boys Crypto is out, baby. Thank you for joining me tonight and sharing your time with me here on this Tuesday night. Let's get after this market, baby. Enjoy your night.